Hi, and welcome to Underground Video Network's Behind the Counter. I am Michael Boroff, and to my left, your right, is Richard Catterjohn.
Hello.
This episode, we're going to do our recap on the BayCon convention we got the privilege to shoot at down in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, and then we're going to spotlight a local Ohio creator in Sean Forney.
Stay tuned. Welcome back. One of the highlights for us this summer has been the chance to go down to the BayCon, hyphenated BA-CON convention down in Columbus, Ohio. Richard, you want to tell them a little bit about the convention?
This year was their inaugural year. They started out, it's a convention that spotlighted basically geek culture. They had comic book creators, they had steampunk, and bacon.
Can't go wrong with bacon. I mean, anything pretty much attached to bacon, I'm there. But we had a fantastic time. We're not just saying this. For the inaugural con, they wowed us.
Oh,
they
yeah,
really
definitely.
did.
Dealer room was pretty good size.
Yep.
They had a lot of different creators.
Yes.
And so forth. We talked to a lot of people. We did a special on that itself, but this is our regular show.
Right. One of the things that was a real highlight for me of being down at BayCon was a chance to meet just a multitude of wonderful people. It's always great to go to the cons just to meet new talent, meet new people, see just some really incredible artwork.
Oh, definitely. They had different webcomics guys there.
Yes.
We got to talk to a couple, three of them. They were really good.
A lot of things that you might not normally be exposed to if you didn't go to, that kind of convention.
Oh, yeah. And what was nice was it wasn't just that. It was a lot of other stuff because you got to talk to the steampunk.
That was great. Captain Anthony LaGrange of the Starship Aeron. I was one of those people who have always been enamored with the steampunk culture, but I viewed it from an outside point of view, didn't know anything about it, and he was magnificent.
Oh, yeah. He told you how to get into it.
Yeah.
And it was great. And then some other stuff was going on. They had panels, they had, and plus bacon, you know.
Just imagine, close your eyes for a second and imagine a room full of comic books and steampunk and just the smell of bacon wafting over you. That was early Saturday morning. That was an early Saturday. That was a beautiful day, and I've got some of the smacks on my back from trying to steal some bacon to prove it. Aside from the bacon, one of the highlights of the show for me was a chance to get to the creators, the crew of the incredibly popular web series Chad Vader. Check it out. I'm here with Matt Sloan and Aaron Yonda, who together form the internet sensation Chad Vader. Guys, can you tell, I don't even know why I'm saying this because most of our viewers know who you are, but can you give us a little recap of your show?
Sure. Chad Vader is Darth Vader's younger brother. He is the manager of a grocery store, and he doesn't have the charisma that his brother has. He's kind of a loser.
That's a great way to sum it up. How did the idea of putting, first of all, coming up with a brother for Darth Vader come up, and not only that, but putting him in a grocery store? I mean, how did that come up?
Well, it was kind of like we thought about the idea of Darth Vader being in a grocery store. He would just kill everybody, and it just wouldn't really work. We wanted to do a series, so we changed it to Chad Vader. We made it his brother, who's not as cool as Darth. And we tried to round out the show with a bunch of other characters that were unique to Empire Market. And so we've got, Chad Vader, who's obviously Star Wars related, but then all the other characters are kind of just their own thing, and we just tried to tell an original story.
Let me ask you, the two of you, like I said earlier, the two of you together are Chad Vader. You are the voice, and you are the body. What's it like for the two of you to work together to make one character?
I think it came about pretty naturally. We've done lots of live chat appearances where we actually do have to be in sync, in terms of hand expressions and voice. So it's something that is definitely developed over time, but it started out pretty naturally.
And you know, there's a surprising amount you can do to be expressive as a Vader. It's not just the arms and stuff like that. Like there's certain ways you can move your head. I do this thing with my ankles that I'm very proud of, where I just will move up and down a little bit when Chad's feeling a certain way. Like he'll rise up a little bit on his ankles, and it's sort of, I don't know. It's just this thing that when you can't express yourself in any other way than with your body, you kind of like develop a bunch of different ways to do it. So it's fun.
How difficult is it being in that suit for taping and when you go do the live shows?
Well, up until recently, it was very difficult because it's really hot. Just like sweating all the time, the vision's fogged up, you can't see anything. If I have to do any sort of physical activity in the suit, I'm just completely exhausted after like 5 minutes. But recently we got an ice vest, which I put on and it puts the ice right next to my skin, and that helps a lot. Ideal temperature for shooting when you're in that suit, though, is going to be like 40 degrees. One time we shot in the winter. It was like minus 10 outside. I was fine in the suit, except for my feet got cold. So.
Are there any?
He complains a lot about wearing the suit.
I do. Because
You may have noticed already.
Yeah.
it's hell.
Outside of the grocery store, is there any locations like you guys haven't yet put Chad Vader in that you would like to see? I'm trying to get an exclusive. Is there anything like Chad Vader at the beach or anything like that you guys would like to see him do?
Boy, that's a good question.
Yeah. Somebody told us we should do something with Chad recently, and I can't remember where it was, but it was a good idea, but now I forgot. One time we got an offer from a guy who owns a strip club down south, and he said you should come down and shoot Chad at the strip club.
A golden opportunity missed.
Yeah, we never took him up on it, so that would have been
We
fun.
probably could still do it if we made the trip.
If we really wanted to.
Well, if you guys are back in the Ohio way, give me a call. I might know people who might know where there's a strip club or two. I'd be more than happy.
You
to.
own a strip club, don't you?
This ain't paying the bills
You
right
heard it
here.
here first,
This ain't
folks.
paying. This right here ain't paying the bills. Speaking of paying the bills, can you tell us a little bit about your guys' website?
Yeah, it's blamesociety.net, and you can watch all of our videos there, and you can also buy merchandise. We have T-shirts and DVDs for sale.
I figured this kind of so sexy.
And you can keep up with all our latest videos on the website. Or if you want, go to YouTube and just type in Chad Vader, and all the videos will come up.
You can also watch Chad Vader on Hulu. We have a Hulu channel. So.
And you guys aren't only just doing the Chad Vader. We've heard too that you have other projects in the works and that you have done.
Our latest series, actually, that we've been making a lot of because it's so fun to make, is called Beer and Board Games. And the idea is that we just drink usually at least 6 beers and play a board game. You progressively get to see like how it affects our play in the game. We played a classic 80s game called Dark Tower, which has like a big tower that's electronic that tells you like where to go on the board, and that one's a lot of fun. I think Matt gets very upset in that one, which is always enjoyable.
I can just see that. I'll tell you where to go.
And
It's a fun show.
yeah,
too.
we play it. So, and we've got one coming up where we're going to be dressing, or we're playing Monopoly, and we're dressing up with monocles, canes, hats.
We're dressed up
and
like Mr.
suits.
Monopoly, and we play Monopoly. And I'm editing that right now. That should be coming out in a week or so, and things get pretty crazy.
We play with a guy named Dylan who we haven't done the show with before, and he just goes nuts. So it's gonna be great.
And the one question I have to ask is, have you guys been approached or met anybody from the actual Star Wars franchise?
Yeah, we've been to the Lucas Ranch a couple times. We met David Prowse, who is the original.
The original guy in the
Yeah.
Vader suit. Didn't you meet Anthony?
I walked past Anthony, not Anthony Edwards. He was on ER. Anthony Daniels was C-3PO. And I walked past him in the Lucas Ranch cafeteria. but I didn't meet him. I hear he's a bit of a prickly pear. But you didn't hear it from me.
Matt also had a little run-in with Jonathan Frakes at a convention.
Oh, God. I'm not going to tell that story.
I will tell the story. I love it.
All right, I'm getting comfortable for this one.
Yeah, it's actually not that long.
It is not that interesting either.
He was walking.
Not at all.
He was walking down the hallway in the hotel. I think Matt's room was near Jonathan Frakes, and so Matt walks past Jonathan Frakes and says hi. And Jonathan.
Also not true. You were telling the story wrong. I will tell it.
All right, well then you should tell it.
We were in the hotel bar. I walked past Jonathan Frakes. We were both guests of the convention. So I gave him just a little congenial nod, and he just totally ignored me. He totally blew me off. He just walked on past, and I was a little tipsy. I got a little upset. And that's it. That's all. It's not an interesting story.
What happened is he got fraked. That's what we like to call it.
You got Frakes.
He got fraked. It's kind of like
How
being
tempted
punked.
were you in your best Darth Vader to just walk up to him and say, "Make it so"?
Frakes,
Make it so.
I'm disappointed in you, Frakes. You will not nod at me again.
Well, guys, it has been an absolute pleasure. I can legitimately say I've been fans of your guys for a long time, and it was a
great.
pleasure to meet you.
Well, thanks for stopping by.
Really, we say it a lot, but if you get a chance to check out the YouTube and, like they said, Hulu, you watch one, you're going to get hooked. It's a great show, and I really appreciate you guys taking time to talk to us.
No problem.
Thank you.
I'd like to take a moment just to thank the guys from Chad Vader for that wonderful interview. It was one of the first times I've done a lot of interviews, and that was one of the first, if only times I've actually been kind of nervous. It was a little bit of celebrity, it's like these weren't just guys that were known, not that the people we don't interview aren't
definitely.
incredibly talented, but these guys, you look at their YouTube website,
They get a million hits.
millions of hits. This was something for me, and they were very receptive. They made it very easy to talk to, and I just wanted to take this chance to thank them. Not only to thank them, but to thank everyone that was involved in this wonderful convention.
For a first year, they did a great job. They put on a good show, and I think next year's already been lined up. It's ready to go, and I think we're going to be down there again.
Definitely, they came out strong out of the gate, and if future conventions are going to be anything like this first one, we're going to be covering them for years to come.
Definitely. And as coverage expands, we go throughout Ohio, and we like the local independent creators.
Yes.
And we spotlight them a lot in Ohio.
Right.
And coming up on this next segment, we got a video that was produced from Sean Forney, who's been on the show several times, and he has a property called the Scarlet Huntress.
Oh, it's a beautiful series. If you get a chance to, look it up, he can be found at pretty much any convention in Ohio.
Oh, definitely. He's always out there drawing.
And he's out there now. He's taken it out of the Buckeye State and just completely branching out. We were lucky enough to be able to talk to him before, we became too small for him.
So I worked on this video segment. It highlights his Scarlet Huntress property and the first issue and some other, the model that he has that does the Scarlet Huntress and so forth. So please enjoy.
this episode's quick picks is pretty much dominated by the DC universe, and rightly so. There's a lot going on in there. But for me, my highlight was Booster Gold issue 47. If anybody's ever watched the show, you know I'm a big Booster Gold fan. This one was a little bittersweet for me, knowing that this was going to be the last issue of Booster Gold in the normal DC continuity that we all know and love. I thought the issue was great. I love seeing Booster in the front and center of any of the crises. He's the greatest hero you've never heard of, and even more so in this case because nobody has in this universe has ever heard of Booster Gold, which just leads to him just getting pounded left and right by a special guest appearance by Doomsday,
who was controlled by his buddy.
His buddy. We don't want to give too much away, but a dear friend in the normal universe of Booster Gold's is not the man he was.
No, definitely not.
And not only is he not the man he was, but he's also in control of one of the greatest killing machines in the DC universe. And it was wonderful to see. You think to yourself, how could Booster Gold go up against Doomsday? It was wonderful. It was a great issue. It was a great read. I've always been a big fan of Dan Jurgens' work, and more so in Booster Gold because it's like his baby.
Oh, definitely.
No one, with all due respect to anyone who's ever had the creative team for Booster Gold, no one does justice to Booster Gold like Dan Jurgens, and I was very happy to see him heading this book because it was no better end of this series than to have Dan Jurgens' words coming out of Booster Gold's mouth. But one of the big crux of the Booster Gold story has been his emergence in the Flashpoint universe, and I turn it over to Richard to give a little bit more about the Flashpoint universe.
Yeah, because I originally had talked about Flashpoint maybe being a little too big, a little too much, and it was. But
there was a lot of
stuff going on. So, but if you read the main book, which is Flashpoint itself, things are wrapping up. The series, you can tell, is coming to a big finale, big battles. What else do you want for a summer book? I mean, this was a fun read.
It was.
Everything's tied together, and it's getting it ready for something that's going to be happening at the end of August.
Right.
And the last week of August definitely will be the start of what DC is calling 52.
The new 52.
And this is a good way to wrap up stuff. I mean, they wanted to kind of do this back with Crisis a while back, and it just didn't quite happen, and now the time is right. And I think what's going to happen, have a good read right before something big happens.
Yeah, it's kind of like the last dance at prom, you know. You want to cherish and, appreciate what you've still got because you know something bigger and better is coming. I say better. We're
hoping.
We're hopeful. I think we've both changed our outlooks on the new 52.
I still saying that just go anywhere and do anything now. That's what should be.
Right. And I hope that the creators have taken a chance to listen to some of the people's opinions, especially from the panel from San Diego Comic-Con, where they actually were very open. Tell us what you want to hear. Tell us what you want us to know. Tell us what you want to hear. And so far, I've heard very receptive things from them.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think this is going in the right direction.
I do, too. I think it's time to step up and make a change. And I think it's less of a marketing tool, I hope, than it is just a creator saying, we do need a change.
Oh, definitely. I think this is the point. This is the time. Everything, it'll work out.
Yeah.
It'll be some new reads. That's cool.
So go to your local comic book store. There are many, many books out right now that are swarming around the Flashpoint universe. These were just our 2 picks. Go out to your store, find your book, and find your pick. Thanks for taking the time to watch our bacon and comic book filled episode.
Tune in for another action-filled episode.
See you around.
Still here at Baycon, and I'd like to introduce you to Captain Anthony. You are head of the Columbus Air Archon.
Yep, the Airship Archon.
Now let me ask you, I'm one of those people who is just enamored with steampunk, but I'm also one of those people who I see it from afar. I never get a chance to really get that much into it. Can you tell me and our audience a little bit about what the culture really is?
The culture started off as a very literary culture. It came from the books like H.G. Wells and Jules Verne and everything, but it's emerged into like an entire steampunk subculture and community. It's retrofuturism. It's taking the look and aesthetic of the Victorian era and combining it with modern technology.
So kind of like if electricity itself hadn't been invented and everything's still steam powered, that technology would probably have kept parallel, if not by some of these, excelled, what electricity would have, been able to do.
Exactly. It's all about, it's a bit of a reimagining the past and, what could have happened had, electricity not become dominant if the diesel age hadn't come in as soon as it did. So,
can you show us just real quick? I'm in love with your display here. Just some of the little items that you have here. Like I noticed the gun. I love the gun. It's got that 50s pop sci-fi feel to it.
This is the Annihilator Mark II. And it's a reimagining of the classic blunderbuss, pretty much. It's what you would get if you had a steam-powered blunderbuss. And this is one of our biggest sellers because it looks amazing and just the detail and work into it that goes into it. Like the faux patina on the barrel and everything and the diodes and regulators. So, yeah.
And see, I think that's one of the things that is like similar to the normal science fiction culture, is the geek's attention for detail. I think it's even more so in the steampunk genre, because like you said, the level of detail here is just phenomenal. The coils, the gauge, especially the gauges. Gauges seem to be the big thing in steampunk because
they are.
You got to have how much steam you're running.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.